What's going on, YouTube? Today, we're going to be talking about decriminalization. We're going to be going through every county and every city, municipality in Texas that has in some way decriminalized cannabis. But before we talk about the counties and cities that have decriminalized cannabis, let's talk about two municipalities that have so far refused to acknowledge their voters and been local laws passing decriminalization anyways. So first is Harker Heights. The city council of Harker Heights decided not to listen to 64% of their voters and threw away Proposition A, which would have decriminalized cannabis in the city. I'm not going to get too political about this or anything, but I do think it is a shame that with a majority vote, you still can't get anything done in some of these counties. Another city that has so far decided not to listen to their voters is Killeen, Texas. Now, as of the writing of this video, they still haven't made any decisions, but it sounds like they're mirroring the same rhetoric that Harker Heights has. Now, an argument that some people are making is that these cities and municipalities don't have the authority to tell the police officers what to do. That's kind of a gray area, and it doesn't address the fact that a majority of Texans in these locations have voted to decriminalize. So I'm not sure what the next step is going to be. It's going to be interesting to see what Killeen decides to do, but Harker Heights has already decided not to acknowledge their voters. Now, with that out of the way, we can talk about the cities and municipalities that have passed decriminalization. And before we get into the list, there is one term you guys are going to hear pretty much over and over again, and that is summons and release. And essentially what that means is you can receive a ticket and a court date at an officer's discretion. You can still be fined, go to court, possibly have to take a drug class, but, you won't be getting arrested for cannabis, getting some type of misdemeanor or something along those lines, which is, still a lot better. Not ideal, but a lot better. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into our list of 14 cities and counties that have decided to decriminalize cannabis. And for this video, I'm going to be using NORML's Texas local marijuana decriminalization map. So first up, we have Austin, passed in 2022. This was a municipal initiative for 2 ounces or less of marijuana. Officers will not issue citations at Class A or B misdemeanor unless there are other drugs or situation requires a higher level of charge to be issued. Another thing that passed in Austin this year was no-knock felonies are no longer legal in the city of Austin. So any of you guys that live in Houston will know, maybe remember the incident we had with a no-knock warranty several years back. And so I'm all for getting rid of the no-knock warrant. Next up, we have Bexar County. Now, back in 2017, the city council there decided to make 4 ounces or less a decriminalized offense. That's going to be a summons and release, like we said. You'll get a court date, probably a fine, possibly a class, and you'll be on your way. No arrest. Next up, we have Cedar Park. And Cedar Park passed this back in 2019, and it was actually the sheriff's office who passed it. Up to 2 ounces of cannabis or less, summons and release will be issued. And I have a feeling that the sheriff's office decided to lessen their workload. They probably were seeing a large amount of low-level cannabis offenses and thought, hey, we can do something about this. And then we have Dallas. Dallas, in May of 2017, by a House bill, 4 ounces or less, same thing, a summons and a release. That's going to be a big thing you'll see in a lot of these bigger cities, is they were some of the first ones to do this. Denton, Texas, 2022 by municipal initiative, 2 ounces or less. police officers shall not issue citations or arrests for Class A and B misdemeanors for possessions of marijuana offenses, absent the alleged involvement of a felony-level narcotics case. And that just means you don't have anything on you that would bump that case up to felony. And then we have Elgin, Texas. Elgin, Texas, by municipal initiative in 2022, 2 ounces or less police officers shall not issue citations or make arrests for Class A or B misdemeanors. And so you'll see either there's that summons and release, or police officers shall not issue citations or arrests. It just kind of depends where in the state of Texas you are and how the police officers there are going to handle that situation. Moving on to El Paso. El Paso is actually at 4 ounces, which I thought was pretty cool. 4 ounces in a city so close to Mexico is interesting. And then we have Harris County, or Houston. And this is by city council resolution. Up to 4 ounces of cannabis is a summons and release. I wish it was a non-arrestable offense like in some other cities, but it is still a summons and release, which means you could get arrested, you could just get a ticket, you could have a court date, you could have a drug class. It's kind of up to the officer. And now we have Hayes County. They passed their initiative back in 2009, and this was by the sheriff's office again, at 2 ounces or less. So you can see when it's actually the municipal or when it's the county sheriff's office, they tend to let smaller amounts go than the cities will, but amounts nonetheless. All right, and now we have Nueces County. Nueces County passed their initiative in April of 2019, and this one was implemented by the district attorney's office. So the same deal as the sheriff's office, but for them, they decided to bump it up to 4 ounces. So if you are in Nueces County, it's 4 ounces. Moving on to Plano County in 2021, implemented by the sheriff's office. Plano County has decriminalized up to 2 ounces of cannabis. All right, and next up we have San Marcos. San Marcos in 2022 decriminalized 2 ounces or less, and the police shall not issue citations or make arrests for Class A and B misdemeanors. So y'all in San Marcos can breathe easy knowing that your 2 ounces or less of cannabis is not a criminal offense. And now we have Travis County. In Travis County, the county commissioner's court has decriminalized up to 2 ounces of marijuana. And the penalty in Travis County, I believe, is actually the lightest in the state, with a $45 fine and a 4-hour class. You know, you can't really beat that one. And last but not least, we have Williamson County. Passed back in 2017, they ran a pilot program for 2 ounces of less, again going by the summons and release method, and they are still going strong with that. So those are the 14 cities and counties in Texas that have decriminalized cannabis to some degree. And this is as of December 2022. Next year we have the 88th legislation beginning. Hopefully we'll see some good cannabis law coming out of the 88th legislation. But until then, I have a couple of videos lined up that I'm going to get to, and hopefully we'll have some new content coming out in the short while. I'd like to thank every single one of y'all, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Cause I'm feeling great, I can't feel my face, just another day, I gotta get this pay, I can't wait, because I'm feeling great, but oh, I need my space.